First one. Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're making a chicken casserole, and we're not going to be using any cans of cream of soups. Y'all know I like to make my own gravies and my own roux. So in this recipe, we're going to share with y'all how you can make your own cream of soup also, and you don't have to buy that in a can. Making the cream of soup yourself will save you money, and also you will know what's going in your recipes. You will be using your whole foods and not all those MSGs and artificial food colorings. You're going to start by adding the oil. 3 tablespoons of oil. And then once your oil starts getting hot, you're going to go ahead then and add your celery. And that's about 1/2 cup. And then to that I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of white onions. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. So that'll help those onions start cooking down. And just let that sit there until they start changing colors and getting a little brown to them and start turning translucent. Now you can season this any way you like, but whatever casserole you're cooking, you've got to think about is going to have seasonings in it too. So you can put what you want, but just be careful not to change the flavor of your cream of soup. So far all we put in this is the oil and a little salt. Okay, now we're starting to get a little color to our onions, so we're going to go ahead now and finish this cream of soup. We're going to start by adding our chicken bouillon, about 1 tablespoon. And just give that a mix. Okay, once the bouillon is cooked just a minute, not long at all, we're going to go ahead then and add our flour. And I'm adding 1/2 cup because we're going to be adding a lot of liquid, so it's going to take a little bit of flour to thicken this cream of soup up. So you just want to let that start to cook down and cook it for about 5 to 6 minutes. And it looks like it's turning into a paste, but that'll also be cooking out that flour taste from that flour. You don't want that flour taste in your cream of soup. So just let it sit there and cook. And this is what it's looking like. And just keep it moving so it don't scorch, but let it make sure it has enough time to cook that taste of that flour out. Okay, once it's set there for around 5 minutes cooking down, now we're going to go ahead and add our 1 can of broth, chicken broth. And give that a mix. And now we're going to add 2 cups of whole milk. You can use heavy cream, you can use half and half, you can use even a can of evaporated milk. But today I'm using whole milk. Now you see how much liquid we got? we got a lot of liquid in there, so that's why we added a half a cup of all-purpose flour to thicken it. And now we're just going to let that come to a good boil, and we're going to be able to use this in place of creams of soups in a can. And this recipe right here is enough for if it called for 2 cans of cream of soup in a recipe. So if you want just one, just half this recipe with your liquid and your flour. But we're going to let that get to a good boil, and I'll show you what it turns out like. Okay, now I'm going to add me about a teaspoon of black pepper. And just a tiny bit more salt. And that'll be equal to a teaspoon with what I've already put in there. And it's starting to come to a good boil, and it's starting to thicken. See how it's starting to thicken up? I'm going to cut that heat down just a little so it don't boil over. But see how that's already coming to a good thickness that you want for a casserole when you're using creams of soups. It's almost to the thickness that I want for my casserole. So we're fixing to take this off the heat and set it to the side until we get our casserole made. And it's a little bit creamier because you use the milk. And this texture right here, this is why I like using just whole milk. I believe it makes it a little bit more easier to work with, and it don't thicken up quite as much as heavy cream. But that right there is going to make a good casserole, y'all. Okay, that's getting just how I want it for my casserole. Just like a can of cream of soup. And like I said, this recipe right here is based on like a big casserole. If you're making a smaller casserole, you would use 1 cup of milk to a half a can of cream of chicken. But my casserole is going to be a little bit bigger, so I went ahead and done a double batch. Okay, we're going to take this off and set it to the side. We're using for our chicken pot pie, chicken casserole, whichever one you'd want to call it. It's all going to be in one pan when we get done, so it's a 1-pot meal also, y'all. And it's a good what's for dinner recipe. So if you're looking for something for dinner, this just might be the what's for dinner recipe you're looking for if you have chicken to use up. So we're going to get started now and start cooking up our vegetables first. Our oils got hot while we were showing you what you need for the recipe, so now I'm going to start by adding my peppers and my little bit of jalapenos. And I'm going to add the corn. And we're going to go ahead now and add the little diced potatoes. And right here we're adding a little sage and rosemary. Some black pepper to the top of that. And a little bit of salt. And now we're going to let that start cooking down. And we're not trying to cook these all the way, because we're going to also bake it in the oven. We're just trying to get it a good golden brown. Adding just a little bit of more oil right over here to the side. And now I'm going to add my chicken. We're going to let that chicken start cooking and get a golden brown. And to the Ritz crackers, we're going to add our 1 stick of melted butter. And then to the Ritz crackers, I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of parsley. And now to that, I'm just going to mix that butter in those Ritz crackers good. And this is going to make a good topping for a chicken casserole. Okay, now I'm going to just mix my chicken in with my vegetables. That way I can get some of those good herbs off of those potatoes onto my chicken that I put in that mixture. Okay, I about got it all mixed up good. I see all the herbs on my chicken. We'll just let it cook a few minutes. Go ahead now and add my cream of soup to it. That would be 1 can of cream of soup right there. That's 8 ounces. And that's about what I believe you get in a can that you buy. So I'm adding 2 cans to this recipe because I'm using this bigger iron skillet to make a double batch. And now we're just going to mix in our cream of soup. Mix it real good. And I have just a little bit extra if I wanted to add more, but I believe this will be enough. And now we're going to add our topping. And now to that, we're going to add our Ritz crackers with our 1 whole stick of butter, because y'all know I love butter. I love cooking with butter. And that little bit of parsley. We're just going to go ahead and just sprinkle it all over the top. To make a good crust. And if you want it thicker, you can use 2 sleeves of crackers. But I just went with 1 for this one. Make sure I get them all out of there. And get them evenly sprinkled all over the top. And now we're going to put it in an oven. I've been preheating my oven on 400, and we're going to bake it for around 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, y'all, I just took the chicken casserole out of the oven. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's looking good. See how the Ritz crackers made us a pretty crust and the butter? So now I'm going to put it back in the oven without the lid and let it cook for about another 10 minutes. Okay, y'all, now we're going to get us some and let you see what it looks like. Oh, it smells good, y'all. So if you're needing a chicken idea to do with your chicken, this is a good recipe. I think you would like it, and I bet your family would too. I just got a little bit so I could show y'all what it looks like. It smells good and it looks good too. And I know it's gonna taste good, y'all. So if you're looking for a good new chicken recipe, y'all need to give this one a try. See how the potatoes and the peppers and the corn cooked in it? Good old-fashioned home cooking. And we made this chicken casserole with no cream of soup in a can. We made it from scratch, homemade. So if you don't have an extra can of cream of soup, when you decide to make a casserole, you can make it yourself. And I hope this video helps you see just the basic recipe of how to make cream of soup. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe.